back to Boosie'S vlog. In this vlog, you hear me? Lips kinda ashy. In this vlog, you hear me? We'll be going to LSU for Rapid Productions graduation. So y'all stay tuned to the video. I'll try to get as much content as I can. Stay tuned to BOOSIE'S vlogs. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new, tell a friend, tell your uncle, tell your titi, your aunt, come watch BOOSIE'S vlogs. Want to appreciate y'all for getting me to 136 subscribers. For all my subscribers that been there, when I only had 4 subscribers, I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned to BOOSIE'S vlogs. So now, we're still cruising the grounds of Louisiana State University, LSU. It's a beautiful campus. Maybe one day I'll be able to show you the dorm in a video. Okay, and we still on the campus. And it's basically bringing you to the business section of LSU, where you go to study business at and learn about businesses and marketing and accounting and gotta take care of the books. So I feel like every time I cut you back on, we stuck at a red light. I'm trying to get, here we go. Moving now. I'm gonna get y'all a view of the campus. The whole campus full of white oak and live oaks. May have a little pecan, and they also have cypress. But so now we're coming in to your right, that's student parking. You guys see all over there, student parking. Some student body. Okay. So I'm gonna cut you back on, fam. Once we get seated in the building and see how they're gonna seat us and things. But stay tuned to BOOSIE'S vlogs. So now we're walking up on the campus. Come over here, baby. Come on, get on the sidewalk. You like the car though? So, in that building there, that's it, key. So I'm gonna cut you back on once we get in there and get seated. Stay tuned. So we'll be attending this. So y'all stay tuned. I appreciate y'all for my subscribers. Stay tuned to BOOSIE'S vlogs.
In 5 years, more than 100 8th through 12th grade students from the greater Baton Rouge area, representing public, private, charter, and home schools, have launched 85 companies and filed them with the Secretary of State's office. So tonight is a big night, and again, we are very proud of each of you. So students, I want you to think back 8 months. You were sitting in this very auditorium for orientation. Did you actually believe that you would be launching a business, working with professional graphic designers on your brands, filing with the Secretary of State's office, and running a business 8 months later? So It's a big accomplishment, and for all in the audience, these are the brands and logos of our businesses that were launched this year. We did this with a lot of support, all the way from the top. This event is made possible by the Mayor President's Office, Mayor Sharon Weston-Groom, who's been a supporter of YEABR from the first year. And you may recall what she actually said to each of you in March at the community pitch. You are the future, not only future entrepreneurs, but future leaders of our city and our community. We thank Mayor Broom for all that she does for YEA. Another piece of our support is here where we're housed at the LSU Jlaneassocllc College of Business. Dean Lorenz, thank you for your continued support of YEA, and I'll turn it to you to welcome everybody.
Thank you so much, Deborah. It's brief, but on behalf of the College of Business, I want to congratulate all of our YEA students tonight. This has been one of the most special aspects of this job for me, is being able to see the growth that you all exhibit throughout the year, being able to see the big competition. As Mayor Bloom said, you all are the future of this community, and I really want to congratulate you for all of your work, and I know this is just the beginning. I also want to welcome all of our guests to the College of Business. If you haven't been here before, we're extremely proud of this facility, and students, I hope you view this as your home from here on out. But like I said, we're happy to have you here. I also want to thank Deborah and her team with YEA. I mean, what you all do is truly special. We're honored to be a part of that. All of the instructors that have assisted. I really view this as the work that's going to advance our communities and our state, and really, you think good well for a lot of us. And to those students, I don't leave without a chance to recruit. So I hope that you view, one, this has been your home during this program. I would love it if this continues to be your home for your undergraduate and graduate studies. As you see, we have an outstanding facility. We have outstanding faculty members. I will put our programs up against the programs in the nation. I hope you consider us. I think there are a few of you that are going to be coming here in the fall, and I'm super excited about that. I have an open door policy over on the other side. Please come by and reach out. But like I said, we'd love to have you here. Really just proud of your accomplishments. Thank you.
The Academy is also supported by a terrific steering committee. Many members are here today. Thank you from all of us for supporting this important work. You're also supported by over 100 businesses within the area, whether they're the restaurants, and I know the food has been many of your favorite parts. We feed them every Wednesday because they're high school students and they're always hungry. So whether they're restaurant owners or businesses who volunteer as graphic designers or mentors, financial mentors, or guest speakers or financial supporters, we appreciate all that our Greater Baton Rouge community does for the Academy. And certainly you're supported by our instructors. Dr. Sonia Wiley, an associate professor here at the College of Business, and entrepreneur Kevin Lyle have taught this academy for 5 years now, and we greatly appreciate all that they do for YEA. Chris Toombs is a new instructor. We're excited that he will continue next year. So I know that you appreciate the support you receive from all of your instructors. So that everyone has a sense, and I'd love for students for you to reflect on how quickly 8 months flies by. You started in September, where you didn't know each other. And we broke the ice, and you shook hands, and you started to build relationships with like-minded young people. You studied in the classrooms here at the College of Business, not only in the College of Business, but on the road. You went to Nexus and met with entrepreneurs in the technology park, walk-ons, learning about franchising. You went to the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. Do you remember Mike? Mike Leary in the back. He's the artist you met. He's actually live painting this event, similar to what you might see at a wedding. He's an entrepreneur, and we were excited to get him here to capture tonight for all of us. You also met with countless guest speakers. Every Wednesday, we would bring in a guest speaker depending on what the curriculum was teaching. You met with CPAs, you met with insurance folks, You've met with a large gamut. Your network has expanded quite nicely over the period of the year. And then there are the mentors. Whether it's financial mentors or business mentors, you prepared so that your business could thrive with people who are passionate about helping you flesh out an actual business plan. You were all given professional graphic designers so that you could flesh out your actual brand for your business. And we appreciate, there's so many mentors here today and graphic designers, so thank you for supporting our students. But then you had the opportunity to ask questions of executives in our region back in January at the CEO Roundtable. And you met with some of our best, including LSU's Tommy Karam on presentation skills. And you practiced your presentation for the community pitch back in February, getting ready for the March pitch competition. And you practiced in front of a mock panel in front of your fellow students to get ready. You filed your companies with the Secretary of State's office. These are legitimate businesses. This is not a simulation. And then you pitched. I'm so proud of how far you've come. You know, back in September when you were hesitant to stand up and say your name and your grade and your school, to March when you stood in front of 300 people and pitched your business for actual funding, which all of you received. I'm so very proud of you. To tonight, where we stand today at commencement. And tonight is, you know, it's called commencement because you're not done, right? This is not a final, you know, I've gone through a year and now we're just done. As you know, even a business plan is never done. It's a living, breathing document. So before we go through the actual commencement ceremony, we actually have a pretty dynamic keynote speaker. Some of you have asked, I'll say many have asked, how did you get Coach Mulkey to be your commencement speaker? Well, I'd like to say that back in October, I knew. And the more I watched her coach her players and inspire them, the more emphatic I was that she'd be here tonight to inspire all of you and all of us. Sure, you know, she's won 7 national championships. And she's the only person, male or female, to win a national championship as a coach, assistant coach, and player. And I could go on and on about her accolades. But, you know what she loves? That's right, business. Qualities of great business people: passion, commitment, grit. Coach Mulkey demonstrates those qualities and more every day. So who better to come here and speak to our newest business owners in the state of Louisiana, 2023 class of Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Coach Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, I am. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. I know I'm mic'd up, okay? So those of you who film me, those of you who have me mic'd up, I say what comes to my heart. So don't put stuff on social media. I get beat up enough if I tell a dirty joke or if I talk bad about somebody's mama. No, I'm teasing. Yeah, that's true. I committed to do this in October, just as we began practice. I don't think anybody in their right mind would have ever thought we would have won a national championship this year. No. That's unrealistic, but we did. So, let me say a little bit about my business background. When I was, coming out of high school, I signed a scholarship to play basketball at Louisiana Tech, but I grew up 40 minutes up the road in Tangipahoa Parish. It sure would have been a lot easier to drive over here, but basketball and women wasn't that good. But it was dominant in North Louisiana, so I take off to those rolling hills, and I graduated in business administration, summa cum laude. I went to the '84 Olympics, and then I was gonna come back and get my master's, my MBA. And as I was working on my master's, my MBA, the president, this is how things happen, and I tell you this because it could be you. I'm sitting in class, and the police come to the class and get me out of class, and I was scared to death. I thought something had happened to my family. And they said, the president would like to see you after class. Okay, so I go up to his office, and he wanted me to get into coaching. I said, no, I'm gonna be a CEO, I'm gonna be all over the world, fly those corporate jets. I've had enough. I've done all I wanna do in basketball. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And thank God that he didn't take no for an answer. Look what I'm doing. I am leading a company. I'm leading the LSU women's team. I led Baylor for 21 years. So my message on that is, I hope you do come to LSU. I came back home for a reason. I wanted to be a positive for our state. Stay home and be that positive. Stay home and figure out what it is that you can do to make people want to come to our state. You're obviously leaders, or you wouldn't be doing this. So I'm gonna kind of talk to you a little bit, and then I'm gonna let anybody ask me questions, and nothing is off limits. Just be careful of my answers. You might not be able to think it. As you grow up, you think of leaders. And I'm gonna use sports, because that's a big part of who I am. I think of common leaders. Common leaders. What are common leaders? I'm a common leader. Your professors are common leaders. Your parents are common leaders. So when I think of what I do, and I think of that basketball, I am never, ever surprised to win a ball game. It never surprises me to win a ball game. Well, what do you mean, Coach? It sounds a little arrogant. No, I'm just never surprised. And the reason I'm not surprised is I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared. I pay attention to details, and I make sure that there's nothing that's going to happen in that basketball game that we have not gone over. So for all you older guys, do y'all remember Babe Ruth? All right, stay with me. Babe Ruth gets up to bat back in the day and he points. Do y'all remember when he pointed? And he got up there and he jacked it exactly where he pointed to. They get him in the clubhouse after the game, and I remember reading where a reporter said, what if you hadn't hit that home run where you pointed? Well, he looked at that reporter and he said, that thought never crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind when I came back to Louisiana that we were gonna win. Now, I can't tell you we were gonna win in 2 years, the championship, but I knew we would win games, and I knew that we would fill that arena, and I knew we would sell tickets, and I knew that we would make it better. I never thought anything else. When I think of leadership and common leaders, I never, ever expect to fail. I just don't. Now listen what I just said. I never expect to fail, but boy, have I failed. But I never let people know when I fail, because bam, I get right back up. Never in any life will you not fail at something. You will fail at something, but you don't have to let people know. See, when you fail and you have obstacles, that's what makes you. That's what makes you who you are. So I never expect to fail. And then lastly, I am never, ever afraid to fail. Think about when you were growing up and you needed to learn how to ride that bicycle for the first time. You're like, oh, I know I'm gonna fall, but I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And then when you learn how to ride that bike, you don't think about it anymore. I'm not afraid to fail. Some people, they don't ever reach their potential because they're comfortable in their one little area for fear of trying something just a little bit harder because I might fail. I might fail. I'm not afraid to fail. I really, really tell all of you, it's not just for you guys, it's for your parents, it's for people who want to make a career change. God, I'm scared to do that. I got 2 kids to feed at home. I don't know if I can do that, but man, it's more money, and man, if I do good, go do it. Go do it. You ever heard of Michael Jordan? Now don't tell me LeBron is better than Michael, because I don't hear it. I'm gonna give you my answer, and you don't have a comeback. How many titles does Michael have? 6. How many does LeBron have? 4. Come see me when he wins 6. Okay? Michael Jordan, I had the opportunity to be with him in the '84 Olympics, and he was the presenter. He presented me to the Naismith Hall of Fame. And do you know Michael has missed more game-winning shots than he's made in his career? But I bet you when that game's on the line, he's telling, give me the ball. Give me the ball! That means he's failing more than he is winning games. But we will always know him as the greatest of all time. Now think about that. He missed more game-winning shots in his career than he made to win basketball games because he wasn't afraid to take those shots. Those are common leaders. That's kind of how I live my life. Talk to you a little bit, and then I'm gonna hush and let you ask questions. In coaching, and it's gonna be like this in the classroom when you're teaching as professors, the average players, because in life and in basketball and your businesses, you got average employees, you got average students. We have average players. And I have found that the average players, they want to be left alone. Just leave them alone. They're here, they're a part of it, leave them alone. I have found that the good players, they want to be coached. The good players want to be coached. And you know what the great players want? The great players want the truth. Now here's the issue. There's very few of the great ones in a business. There's very few of the great ones in the classroom, and there's very few of the great ones in athletics. And you know why? Because they can't swallow that pill of truth. Some people can't handle the truth. I was not one of the more talented players, but what I could handle was tough. You give me anything you want, coach, and I'm gonna show you. I wanted the truth. I didn't say I liked what the coach said sometimes, but I used it as motivation. I'm a player that tell me something I can't do, and I'm gonna cuss you under my breath and say, watch me. That's who I was. But some people can't handle that. They need a hug. They need a pat on the back. So my job is to figure out in that locker room who are my average players, who are my good players, and who are my great players. And I'm not talking about talent. Because some of the most talented ones will never be the great ones because you got to coddle them. And they'll never ever understand, you really don't want me to tell you the truth because they can't handle it. That old truth pill. When people talk, I want them to look me in the eyes. If you watch my players, if they looking down, they're like, oh Lord, I don't want to get her wrath tonight. But I'll make them look me in the eyes so I know you heard what I said. Your mamas and daddies and your grandmas probably did that. Baby, look me in the eye when I talk to you. It's disrespectful not to. I had a professor, God love him, I'd never tell you his name, but I was working, it was an economics class of all, the only B I ever made at Louisiana Tech was in economics. I still don't understand it. But when he taught, he literally looked at the ceiling the entire time. And I thought, now we're not 800 people in this room, we're about 30 people, look us in the eyeballs, but I think it was his personality. And I thought to myself, that doesn't motivate me. That doesn't mean he wasn't a great professor. That doesn't mean that he wasn't real smart, but he couldn't reach me. I need eye contact. And so I brought with me, you can't see it where you are, but Michael Jordan played where? What college? Come on, where? North Carolina. Who was his college coach? He's deceased now, Dean Smith. And I found this in my file, and it said, great players listen with their eyes. That's Michael Jordan now in college, staring his coach down on the sideline. So see, you don't just listen with your ears, you listen with your eyes as well. Always remember that. When you go for job interviews, boy, my players go, oh, here she is, she's on a tangent again, telling us how to get that job, and I do tell them a lot of things. Look people in the eye, shake people's hand, have a confident personality about yourself, and you'll be amazed at what will click in the mind of that boss. Last thing I'm gonna tell you, and then I'm gonna let you ask me questions, okay? I have a daughter, she's, gosh, I don't know how old, Mackenzie's 31 now anyway, and I have a granddaughter, I have a grandson. I grew up in the country. Neither one of my parents went to college. My grandmother had an 8th grade education, but it was always important to me that I use my scholarship so my mom and daddy wouldn't have to pay one dime or go in debt to put me through college. They never signed my report cards growing up. They knew what I made. They were proud. They were always working. So I just signed their name for them. No big deal. One day it would be 1 month or 9, I think we were 9 weeks, 6 weeks back then. I'd sign my dad's name, the next 6 weeks, mom's name. They didn't, you know, hey, how'd you not made 8 yet? It's okay. But here's my message. I never wanted to disappoint my family. I never wanted to disappoint my grandma, my mom, my dad. How do you disappoint them? Not by making a B, not by choosing to go to another school. I never wanted to get in trouble. I never wanted to get in trouble. And the reason I didn't is because I always thought in athletics people were watching everything I did. If I went out with friends and they were drinking, my old grandma, over 300 pounds of her, she'd say, baby, you waller with pigs, you're gonna smell just like them. So I didn't want to do that. So consequently, I stayed home and I studied, and I'd every now and then, you know, drive around the parking lot 3 or 4 times at McDonald's. That's what you did back in the day. I'd wave to my friends over there. They'd be drinking. You know, we didn't have weed back then, you know, so they'd be drinking. But I didn't want to be with them. Doesn't mean I was judgmental of them. I just didn't want to be associated with them. So this little, I guess you could call it a poem, is something that I kind of put on my locker at Louisiana Tech. And it goes like this. That little girl that follows me. A careful woman I want to be, a little girl follows me. I do not dare to go astray, for fear she'll go the self-same way. I cannot once escape her eyes. Whatever she sees me do, she tries. Like me, she says she's going to be that little girl that follows me. She thinks that I'm good and fine. She believes in every word of mine. The bad in me, she must not see. My life to her must an example be. I must remember as I go through summer sun and winter snow, I'm building for the years to be for that little girl that follows me. I get emotional because I always remembered that raising a daughter. It could be for a young man as well. And then now as I see my little granddaughter, you know, she can barely talk, but she's watching everything you do. And remember that. Somebody is watching you. Somebody is always watching you, and especially with cell phones nowadays. Especially with cell phones. So, to you guys, I admire you. I admire you. To have that thinking cap as an entrepreneur at your age is off the charts. So here is my challenge to you. You heard of NIL? So when you're making the big bucks and Angel Reese comes and says, give me some of that money, support me as an NIL, that's what you're doing. You're building a business and a corporation that someday you will be these people helping the athletes, their brand, and their NIL. Thank you for having me speak to you, and now I will let you guys ask any questions you want to ask, and then I'm going to sprint out of here, and you want me to tell you what I'm going to do? I'm going to eat some crawfish. I've just been craving them. 40 years I've been away, and I eat them just about every night. Okay? And if anybody knows where I can get some boiled crabs, blue crabs right now, let me know. Everybody's out. Everybody's out. Out! They must be sending them to Maryland because they're probably getting about 20 bucks a crab. Okay? Questions? Yes. Go ahead, stand up.
Who do you think is the most talented player that was on the season, and who do you think was the best player you've ever coached in your entire career?
Ooh. Well, the championship game against Iowa, coaches coach a lifetime. Some of the greatest ones, and they never win a championship. Man, have I been blessed. Have I been blessed. I have won many. And when you think about, as a coach, what are things, man, I want to win a championship. Okay, I've done that. Man, wouldn't it be cool to someday play in that championship game and every kid on your team played their best? I think that's what we did that night. Jasmine Carson, Hoa comes in and takes 2 charges on the push-off. Alexis Mars can't be guarded. Angel Reese, I mean, all of them. And I sat on that sideline and I said, when Carson banked the ball in at the end of the half, and I said to myself, God, am I fixing to come see you? This is nuts. This is nuts. And then when you say, well, coach, the best player this year, the 2 that got the most attention was Angel Reese and Alexis Morris. Angel, because she had all those double-doubles. I think every game but 2, she had a double-double. You know what a double-double is? That means you're double figures in some statistic, whether it's scoring, rebounding, block shots, assists, you get 2 areas and you have double figures. Alexis Morris just was a leader for us. She would deliver the ball to the right person at the right time with the understanding that, hey, I need to score right now. Flage got a lot of attention because she's a rapper, okay? And she's good. And let me tell you, gotta tell this story. When you think of rap music, we all know Louisiana. We can name all the rappers that come out of here, okay? If they're not in jail, right? But Flage does not curse in her rap music. Her mother is her momager, and Flage has a niche with her rap music. Go listen to it. She's a happy person. She's very good, and she doesn't have to do all the cussing and all the things that a lot of rappers do. And when I tell you I watched her perform with all these people at my monthly luncheon, and they stood and I laughed because 98% of them were white and don't know anything about rap music. And they were like, yeah, Flage! Yeah, baby! So what did Flage do? What did Flage entrepreneurs. She reached people in her life by being who she is. People that would never listen to a rap, freestyle or whatever. That's touching lives. And that's what I'm trying to make them understand. It's not just about you. It's about that little girl and those people that are watching you. The greatest player that I ever coached would be Brittany Griner. She played above the rim. She dunked it all the time. But she's not the only great one. I've had many great ones. And I've just been lucky and blessed to come here and coach these young ladies. And we're not done yet. Stay tuned. We're not done.
Hi, my name is Cameron Green, and I'm a senior at Liberty Magnet High School. I was wondering, what quality do you value in your players that might transfer to a business person?
Well, Liberty Magnet, I could throw a rock and hit you from my house because I live in South Downs. Okay. Ask me that question again.
What quality do you value in a business person that would what quality do you value in a player that would transfer over to a business person?
I have a real deal with trust. Trust. If I trust you, I'm going to invest my money with you. If I trust you, I'm going to give you that extra little nudge. I have a real problem with lies. See, I believe the biggest problem in our country, we've got a lot, but I believe the biggest problem in our country is lying. From the president on down, I'll never forget, I never had sexual relations with that woman. Right? Well, what do you call it? And I'm going, so my point, don't lie. Don't lie. Because if you're a business person, you're usually going to have to lead a group of people in your business. You're going to have to sell things. You're going to have to meet people. Your reputation is all you have. You work your whole life for a great reputation. Do you know how fast it can go? That fast. So trust, lying, all that is what people want to feel from people. And when you do make a mistake, and you will, you own it. You own it. If people would just own their mistakes and not blame other people, we are compassionate humans. We want to hear you say, my bad. We want to hear you say, man, I effed up. However you want to say it. But own it. Trust. You'll be amazed. When people walk in my office, I can quickly tell, man, I'm going to love that kid. That kid's brought up the right way. That kid you can sit and talk for hours with. The other one is like, oh, Lord, I'm going to have to work on that one. You can feel it. You can feel it.
Thank you.
Good question.
Hi, I'm Anna Baumgartner, and I'm a senior at LSU Laboratory School. I was wondering, what was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome in reaching the championship?
Well, let me start. You got to win 6 games to win it all. So we finished second in the SEC behind the defending national champions who kicked our rear end earlier in the year. So what you had to do after a game like that is you got to make sure you don't overemphasize the importance of that game. That game was not all that important. Did it knock us out from winning the SEC? Probably. But there were better and bigger things that could be achieved. And so that's one thing I did a lot of after that game. The second in the SEC tournament, and we lost our composure. That is when you really have a come to Jesus meeting because you gave that game away. It wasn't what they did. And then when you start the playoffs, you just kind of wipe everything clean. See, there's 4 parts to our season. You got the non-conference, you got the conference, you got the SEC tournament, and you got the NCAA tournament. So when these 3 parts were done, We put a big X on it and said, okay, baby, here we are. We want to host the first and second round games, we did. Then you got to that Sweet 16, and it's like, let's try to win one. Then when we did, it was like, oh my goodness, if we win one more, we get to a Final Four. So you broke it down in ones. You broke it down in ones. And so I said, looking back on one individual game that I just pulled it out of the hat. We were down to Virginia Tech, 9 going into the fourth quarter. And they were pretty much controlling the game. And in that timeout, I just looked at them and I didn't draw up any great plays. It was, you gotta play these next 2 minutes, 10-minute quarters. We had 10 minutes. I said, you have to play like there's only 2 minutes left in the game. So a sense of urgency. But we came out of that timeout, man, we went at it. They call a timeout, they're still up, but only by 2.
Don't let him walk away.